Hey, Gypsy here, and I want to talk about the latest book haul that I got from Book Outlet. Last week, Book Outlet had their whole entire website on sale for 15% off, so I took advantage of that sale. You can also get a $5 coupon if you share this information through social media. So I did that, and of course, you give him peanuts. The first book I want to talk about is called The Heart Goes Last by Margaret Atwood. I love Margaret Atwood. She's an amazing author, and I read Handmaid's Tale and the Orc and Crake series, and this book doesn't look like it's going to disappoint. Essentially, this couple is living in their car. There's financial ruin all over America, and there's this one project called the Positron Project that's offering basically hope for everybody, in which you could live in this utopian kind of town. They have your house, and they'll give you all the stuff you need, and they'll give you employment at the local prison. But there's the one catch is you have to stay in that prison for half the year. So half the time you're at, you're free, and the other half you are in prison. So that's The Heart Goes Last by Margaret Atwood. The second book I want to talk to you about is this science fiction book called Annihilation. I've been meaning to read this book. This book was a Sword and Laser pick for their book club, and I never got an opportunity to read it, so I'm very happy that I get to read it now. And this book essentially takes place on a distant planet where it's far away, and an expedition was sent there, and they found this an Eden-like landscape. And they called it Area X. So they sent the second expedition down to check and see basically what was happening there, and to research. And what they found out that when they got there is something happened, and essentially the whole team committed mass suicide. They sent a third expedition, and on that expedition the members killed each other. And there were subsequent expeditions after that, and when this book takes place, this is basically like the 12th or 13th expedition. So this is one of these books like you're trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening, what's killing these other expeditions, what's causing this, and why do they keep sending expedition after expedition? Like, maybe you should not even go there. So that's Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. The next book I want to talk about is Patrick Rothfuss's The Slow Regard of Silent Things. This book is beautiful. Just look. This is a novella by Patrick Rothfuss. It takes place in between the second and third book, but it's more of a character study of Ari. And I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I love Patrick Rothfuss's work, and I think that this book will be awesome. The next book I want to talk about is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles. It is called Scarlet. I read Cinder. I like Cinder, but I just never got around to reading the other ones. So when I saw this on sale at Book Outlet, I want to give it a shot. And I'll probably pick up the others as well after this. This is a young adult lit book. A lot of many of my friends on Goodreads have already read this, but I don't think it'll disappoint. I'm not a big romance reader, and this pick is a romance, but it looks really cool. It's called Once Upon a Tower, and it's about basically a take on Rapunzel. So that's Once Upon a... She's like clanking her paws all over the... Called Once Upon a Tower. Okay, the next book I want to talk about is Amy Tan's The Valley of Amazement. I have this book on my e-reader, but I saw this book on Book Outlet, and I really wanted to get the paperback copy. This takes place in Shanghai. It's about this young lady named Violet. She's the daughter of a madam of a courtesan house, and basically it takes over place for 40 years. It's a family, almost like a family saga. I'm very interested in seeing how this book turns out. That's Amy Tan's Valley of Amazement. The next book I want to talk about is The Vacationers by Emma Straub. This book is about a dysfunctional family. What more do I got to say about that? I love dysfunctional families, and this book looks awesome. The next book I want to talk about is called The Bookstore, and I'm not going to lie, guess why I got this? Look at the picture of books. So This book is about this woman named Esme. She moves to Manhattan, and she ends up meeting a guy, and the guy's named Mitchell. They hook up, they have sex. Guess what happens? She is pregnant. Oops. So she goes to tell him about that she's pregnant, and he says, before she even gets a chance to let him know that she's pregnant, that he wants to break up with her because the sex is, I guess, crap. You don't like it. It's, not his thing right now with her. And so she essentially is heartbroken, and she gets a job in a bookstore, and there's some quirky characters. And I guess he comes back into her life to see if he can win her back or not. Who knows? It's one of these books that I think is going to be a great summer read. One of those, is she going to grow from this kind of thing? The next book I want to talk about is Fiddlehead by Cherry Priest, and she is one of my favorite authors. This book is the last book in the Clockwork Century series. The last book I bought was Inexplicables by her, and this book is called Fiddlehead. She also writes another series about the Lovecraftian myths called Maplecroft and Chapelwood, and I read Maplecroft, and that is a great book. She is an awesome author, and I'm excited about finishing this series up. The next book I want to talk about is called Cold Iron. Now, this book is considered to be something called flint punk, where you have magic, and then you have certain technologies that exist with guns, the gunpowder. This is a new kind of genre that I'm seeing, and it's called flint punk, and this mixes magic with basically the modern technology of cannons and gunfire and that sort of thing. The next book we'll talk about is called Frog Music, and this book was recommended on the Book Riot website about lesbian characters, and this is historical fiction. It's a murder mystery. It takes place in San Francisco, and this looks really, really good. The next book I want to talk about is called Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. I'm not a big horror reader. I don't read a lot of horror. My main genre I like to read is science fiction, fantasy, not so much horror, but I've heard a lot of good things about this series. It's called Mr. Mercedes, and I'm going to give it a shot. And going along with the same horror theme, I bought his son's book, Stephen King's son's book, Joe Hill, Horns, and this book looks pretty like a thriller, a mystery, a kind of page turner, and I'm looking forward to reading this too. And the last book I'm going to talk about is a picture book. It's called Choose Day by Neil Gaiman. And I already read this to my 4-year-old, and he just loves it. I mean, the illustrations are beautiful. The story is sweet. It is just a beautiful book. And that is Choose Day by Neil Gaiman. And finally, I want to share the Book Outlet Bear, because if you bought $50 worth of books, you're able to get the free Book Outlet Bear. So that's my book haul. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
We might be
3, 2, 1. Can we rewind? Why? Like of all times, like any other time.
She's scavenging.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Wait, don't forget to like and subscribe. Pew pew.
Oh, I caught it.